Hi, everybody. I'm Jay Gruenke, founder of The Balanced Runner. I've been helping runners from beginner to Olympian improve their form and performance since 2003. And I'm here today with another stuck at home running form tip for you from my living room to yours, helping you use this time as an opportunity to become a better runner. And I want to talk about hunching your or lifting your shoulders. This is part of a series of videos on breathing because this is part of the difficulty that a lot of people have with their breathing. It's something a lot of people try to fix in the wrong way in order to breathe better. Or just in order to be less tense up here during and after your run. So let me show you why it happens, what's going on, why it or is part of breathing badly. I suppose I wouldn't exactly say it's causal for breathing badly, but the wrong way to fix it and the right way to fix it. So lifting your shoulders, I probably don't need to demonstrate what this looks like, but just in case. So like that. Running like that. I mean, again, I'm actually probably exaggerating a bit, but it can get to feeling that bad. But even just a little bit can create a lot of tension up here. And then it can get to feeling like you're actually lifting your shoulders to breathe. Like that. So as you're running like that. Something you might do more when you're tired, with a chicken and egg relationship with that feeling of fatigue. And so the things that people try to do to fix this are to relax the shoulders, which works for a little while usually. And then 10 minutes later, you notice, wait a minute, they're up again. Relax them again. Oh, but then again, they're up. So that from the side, that would look like this versus this. They don't stay down very long. So then, out of frustration or under the instructions from a coach or PT or physio, people will often try to actually pull the shoulders down and back. So activating the muscles in here. And that's advice that's also often given just to improve your posture for people who do this a bit, even just in standing and walking and all of that. But that's just nonsensical, I'm sorry to say, because we live in a gravitational field. And what direction does gravity pull? Down. And so you don't ever need to pull something down on your body. Gravity will take care of that unless there's some sort of barrier to it actually going down, in which case you've just started having a tug of war with yourself. So your shoulders would just drop if you weren't also lifting them or doing something else that makes them rise, right? So let's not do that. Oh, and sorry, they're also, in addition to it not being, not addressing the root cause, like if you are pulling your shoulders down, you're not addressing the root cause of what's making them go up, because they just would be down thanks to gravity if there weren't something else making them go up. So you have missed the root cause. And it makes you run with even more tense muscles. Tension between your shoulder blades, tension pulling your shoulders down and back when you run is going to interfere with your core action, or the cowboy, perhaps you can hear somebody's car alarm going off. The counter rotation of your upper and lower body when you run. Because for that counter rotation, one shoulder needs to be coming forward as the other goes backwards, and vice versa. So if you pull both shoulders back at the same time, that gets a lot harder, and that has a knock-on effect on your legs, increasing the stress by worsening your weight shift. You'll be more likely to overpronate because your weight is staying in the middle, so your legs, your knees rotate inwards, your arches collapse in. You don't get such good support or leverage from the ground, and running gets harder. So it's actually really quite bad for your performance to pull your shoulders back, even though it might look better. And that just gets to, it's a mistake to make your running form look good from the outside. That's not what good running form is. Good running form is running that's initiated and controlled in the right way in your body. And then it also looks right, but it's not just cosmetic, okay? So let's get past cosmetic here. So the solution for for getting out of this movement pattern is a better core action, in fact. And let me show you why. So, what makes your shoulders go up when you're running is that you change the shape of your torso. So you take your sternum down and you round your back as a whole. You can see even my pelvis is tilting backwards, but especially my upper back is rounding. And as I've said many other places, this ruins your ability to lean, because once you do this, in fact, you can see that my shoulder is in line with my hip. I'm actually upright and just my head is in front. And then also, because these muscles are contract, and also just your ribs are closer together here, you're compressed here, it becomes more difficult to do your counter rotation. And especially in your upper back, you're not going to have much movement in those vertebrae. And and meanwhile, when you round your back, look at what happens to my shoulders. They go, sorry, if I were running while I'm leaning forward, but I round my back. Now, I haven't intentionally done anything with my shoulders. I've just left them where they were. But because of the backwards movement of my upper back, suddenly they're closer to my face. They're forward and they're up, because they're riding that. They're now sitting on a rounded surface and they're rounding along with it. They're carried into this movement. So you can't fix rounded, hunched shoulders by doing anything with your shoulders. You have to do something with your spine. And then the shoulders just are down. And you're more able to rotate. And so why am I not telling you that the thing you need to do is straighten your spine, and that'll improve your shoulders and your counter rotation? Because if you go to try and straighten your spine, you're going to tense some more muscles. And we always, always want to avoid tensing more muscles as a way of improving your running form, because you're just having a tug of war with yourself. You're not getting at causes and you're stopping movement. Everything needs to move when you're running. It just needs to move correctly. So if you're like this and then you go, and say to yourself, I'm going to lift my chest, I'm going to straighten my back, then all these muscles along your spine are now working more than they were, and probably more than is appropriate. And you might even accidentally end up pulling your shoulders back as well, which again, cosmetically is going to look great, but it's going to actually interfere with your core action. But when you improve your ability to actually do this counter-rotational movement in running, you unflex, because the motions break up this pattern of holding in the front of your body that is keeping you in this position, and wake up the muscles in your back so that without locking into place, they become more active. And so that you get a better balance between the muscles, your flexors that put you into the fetal position, and your extensors that stretch your whole body out. A better balance so that you run with a neutral spine that is not without carrying chronic tension. So the core action is the great fix for any postural. Again, I don't like posture because it's static and we are dynamic in running, but any organization of your torso that's awry, and especially this one. So in the description below, I'm putting my best free resource for improving your core action. If you've been watching a lot of these videos, you may already have that resource. It's the Loosening Up to Run lesson. Is really very powerful for helping with this. And with my clients who come in complaining of tight shoulders, which is really common, we do this lesson and other lessons like it, and we never really work specifically on their shoulders, but the shoulders just cease to be a problem. And then breathing, among other things, becomes much easier, because instead of being flexed, and I talked about this in the previous video, which I'll also link below, when you're flexed, your diaphragm is not able to descend into your abdomen. There's not really room. Your sternum is pushed down and can't easily rise or expand. And so the only part of you that can really easily expand for taking in air is your back. And when you breathe into and expand a back which is already rounded, it rounds more and it pushes your shoulders more the direction that they were going in this position, which is forward and up. And so then you end up in this position where you experience life as you experience your breathing as if you're doing it by lifting your shoulders. And to some extent, you are. So, better core action fixes the flexion, letting your shoulders settle into place in a nice, free, mobile way, and dramatically improves your breathing without adding the tension of trying to straighten your back or pulling your shoulders back or lifting your chest. All right, that's the summary. Thank you so much for watching. I see I've got a question here, but first let me just say, be sure to get the resource below. Be sure to click like if you found this video valuable so YouTube knows to share it with other runners who need this information. Click subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notifications of all of my videos, and check out all the great resources I have for you on balancedrunner.com. Adelino, happy Monday. He says, when we run hard, it's difficult to nose breathe exclusively. It's okay to breathe from the nose and the mouth. Adelino, I'm going to do a separate video on that. So this one is just on shoulders. Let's stick with that topic. Nose breathing, I think, is no, day after tomorrow, looking at my list here. So we'll get to that. BTW, this weekend I did a half time trial and I felt the core and hips working more, but some pain and soreness at the end. Depends on where's the pain and soreness, Adelino. Why don't you, if you leave a comment below this video, then I can get back to you on that. But, make sure you're making the gluteus. Oh, well, if you're leaning more and your core and your hips are working, you will actually use your butt more and your hamstrings. So it's not necessary to be a bit sore there is not necessarily a bad sign, unless it was like painful and a feeling that something was wrong. So, odds are that that's a good sign of improvement. I'm always, when my clients switch from having it be their quads that are getting sore and overworked to feeling their head. I mean, especially, I'll tell you, especially it's hamstrings normally, but also glutes that get sore and feel like they're really working, then that's usually a really positive sign. And it's very temporary. You'll increase that strength pretty quickly, no problem. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for your comments, Adelino. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow.